get it started. Now, the other side of this is hotel furnishings. There is a chance that some of these furnishings on the exterior have some fire-resistant qualities to them. That's perfectly fine. The vast majority of your home furnishings are not fire-resistant. Now, what you're saying, what we call is an incipient stage fire. That's the first stage of the fire's going to go through. You've already heard the smoke detector activation. That would be you and your family's first response to get out of the home. Now, you start seeing the accumulation of gases. The gases that I'm talking about, obviously the smoke. Remember carbon monoxide, odorless, tasteless. Okay? You can't taste it, you can't smell it, you can't see it. That is the most toxic gas. That's what typically gets a fire victim. It is not the heat that gets them. So we've got smoke detector activation. We've got the accumulation of gases that would be walking throughout your entire home, upstairs, downstairs, doing what we call a mushrooming effect, which is starting to walk its way down the walls. All that smoke that's coming out, once it reaches its ignition temperature, you're going to see that light up. What's happening in the back wall there is the flames are crawling up the wall, they're going over the ceiling, okay, and that's called a rollover effect. That rollover will eventually start to roll out of the front of the structure, and then you'll start seeing the lower portion start to do what we call off-gas or pyrolysis. That's the moisture coming out of the carpet, the woods, and everything else. Once it dries out, you're going to see it reach its ignition temperature, and you'll have full involvement. Now, you can guesstimate we're a good 40 feet away. Can you start to feel the radiant heat? Now, that radiant heat's coming into the open air. If that is in a structure, anything out here is starting to basically dry out and prepare to burn. Literally, it's preparing itself to burn.
We're at 2 minutes.
So we're at 2 minutes. Let's just go through the fire department scenario. It typically takes us a minute to process a call from 911 to communicate to our folks in the field. So the folks in the field have now basically got to the apparatus, start donning their gear. They typically don their gear for response in less than 60 seconds. They're now on the road for that 4-minute response time. That explosion you heard is nothing more than the tube of the TV, very typical. Now we just reached flashover. Now you can feel the radiant heat. All right, Cap, go ahead.
253.
Good. Semi-fog, Cap.
3 minutes.
So 253, just under 3 minutes, we had flashover. So they're going to continue just to monitor that for a couple minutes to mop it up. Let me describe a couple of things. Okay? What that fire did is came up the wall, came up to the ceiling. Once the fire reaches an obstruction, it starts to walk its way out. Okay? If that is in a large open room, it's going to walk throughout that room until it reaches another obstruction. Eventually, it's going to start to work its way down. Smoke and toxic gases are filling that residence. Remember, they are ignitable. As soon as they reach their ignition temperature, now we have fire throughout the structure. So minimal water needed there. 2 minutes and 53 seconds. The fire department is still en route. Even the best fire department located right here in Las Vegas Valley cannot get there in a 3-minute time frame unless you live right across the street. Okay, that's not to lessen the importance of the fire department. Absolutely a critical asset. But the way you help us is protect yourself one level greater by having a working smoke detector, having a sprinkler system in your home, and obviously having some degree of an evacuation plan that you account for everybody. When we arrive, we can count heads and make sure everybody's out. Questions, comments, or thoughts?
How long was it taking for that to start catching on fire?
What's that?
The next unit over.
The next unit over as far as the next room?
Well, yeah, whatever that is, for that fire to start jumping another spot.
I would say a matter of minutes. If you got an opening, let's just put a window on this side. You're talking prior to our arrival. Now we're fighting 2 fires. Okay, it's an exposure. So she said 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Now it is an open air environment. Your house is a closed environment, which actually allows those gases to build up even more. Okay, which can actually make the fire spread even more effectively once it gets an oxygen source. Meaning, once that front door is open, we've introduced oxygen. This is another critical point here. The more compartmentalization we have in a home. Most of our homes today are very open. Okay, we love that space. But you remember years ago we used to talk about closing the door at night. Have your children close the door. Folks, that's important. We've lost that. We need to close those doors because that creates a compartment and isolates you from a fire. If there was a fire somewhere else in that home, you can prolong the safety in that home by simply having doors closed. So the compartmentalization of homes is of the utmost importance. Well, let me just say, okay, I'm guesstimating here. The temperature, the ignition temperature of carbon monoxide, 1128 degrees. And that is the most prominent gas of any fire you're going to see. So we know we got to at least 1128. Then we reach basically the flashover, which can go in excess of 2,000, 3,000 degrees, depending on context. So when you've seen it basically get up there, start coming down, the pyrolysis or that steam coming off of the carpets, we're beyond 1128. Anybody else? Yeah, good. All right, same exact scenario, okay, same configuration. We'll do the same thing. We're going to ignite from the backside using a fuse into the couch. We've got a sprinkler head, okay, a residential sprinkler head. It's charged, at this point, it's charged with 50 PSI coming in from the apparatus that would normally be through the domestic system, your home system. You wouldn't even know it's there. All the piping that you see on the exterior obviously would be concealed in the wall. Which is another misnomer that sprinklers are ugly. Folks, if you go up there, after the fact obviously, you go up there and you look, it's very tough to even see the sprinkler. But tonight when you go back to your hotel room and put your head on the pillow, I want you to run this through your mind. There's a reason you're sleeping in that hotel and you're basically in the safest high-rise district in the world because it's sprinkled. Now we paid a terrible cost for that, the MGM and the Hilton, if you remember those incidents. That strip is the safest in the world because of those sprinklers. So now we have ignition, you've already heard the smoke detector going off, so now we've had our alert as a family or citizens to get out of the structure. Meg, are you keeping the time?
Yeah, we're at 49.
49 seconds? 49 seconds. Now, the sprinkler's continuing to basically snuff that fire out. Cap, can we turn the sprinkler? So in 49 seconds, the first thing you heard was your alert, your family's alert to get out of the home. The fire continues to burn for how many more seconds? How many more seconds? Or 49 seconds was the activation.
Activation.
So you couldn't even get out of your home before this thing activated.